Hey guys, it's Josh. Um, Hi. I have not been on camera in a while. The last time I was on camera was with Rosemary on the RD podcast. I was so glad to join it. And then before that, I was a main show host like 2 years ago. Um, and I thought I would come on here today to just chat, yap, and have some fun. I've been having the idea of having a podcast every once in a while, but I thought I would like test the waters, see what it feels like. Just because I was like so nervous to be on camera after being a host, I don't know, being on camera is a lot, but I wanted to try. So here we are. If you know, you know. I got some heart sunglasses that I shattered the other day. Um, yeah. So if you know me, I'm Josh, senior, trying to figure out what in the world I want to do. Um, I joined RD 2 years ago as a sophomore, which was my first year here. I'm now a senior. I'm also the EP, or one of the EPs. Sean is also an EP. Love Sean. A little bit about me. I'm a media major, promotions and management. I have a couple minors. I work at the digital core. Yeah. So today I'm going to talk about pop culture, obviously, because that's like my favorite thing to talk about. But I think that it's really prevalent in today's world, especially like right now. There's so much happening, and it's a really hard time for a lot of people. And I think pop culture and entertainment is a really good outlet for people to express themselves and have a form of escapism. So the first few I'm going to talk about are Wicked and Barbie because I think those they came out like kind of a year apart, and were very big culture phenomenons for that era of each time. And I feel like in a few years we're gonna look back and be like, oh my god, like what a moment. The way that we look at like 2016, I feel like we're gonna look at 2024 like that, just because of everything that happened pop culture wise. Um, so I don't know. Barbie was so important for women, and I think Wicked also was so important for women because just the whole idea, like obviously it's a very lighthearted story. Like it's also very deep with like all of the things that are going on in Oz and like the whole idea of like silencing animals and just the idea of Elphaba being like looked down upon because of the color of her skin, which is obviously very much. I think Cynthia was the perfect person for that, and I think it was really important for it to be her. Um, and I would say that Wicked could be even more meaningful for women than Barbie was because I think it brought to light so many issues that we're currently dealing with. And I can't wait to see part two because I think it's going to be really important to see like the progression of the story, especially because this year there's going to be a lot that's going to happen politically and everything. I think it's going to be really important to end the year off on a good note. 2024 was big in pop culture, obviously, and I think it really showed how important it is for people to have that outlet. I think things like Brat, obviously, Brat was such a moment, and I think when we look back on it, people are gonna be like, "Oh my God, Brat! Like I love Brat." Um, and I think it was really important just to have a certain form of expression when it comes to like different images and like aesthetics and niches because I think Brat like brought out that party girl era and kind of normalized it in a way that makes it um, fitting for everyone. Like everybody kind of fit in that Brat era, and I think it's really cool to see like different aesthetics take charge instead of just like one aesthetic. Yeah, like 2024 was filled with so many different things. Obviously, like Eras Tour. If you don't know, Trisha Paytas is going on her own Eras Tour, and she's coming to Indy on February 20th. So if anyone wants to go with me, let me know because I really want to go. I want to hear "I Love You, Jesus" live. That would be insane. Um, Other pop girls that really just took it over: Sabrina and Chapel. We know them, we love them. I'm so excited to see where they take their platform next because obviously like Sabrina has been famous for years, but she really took off this past year, and I think now that she's at like superstar status, like where is she going to take that moving forward? I think her marketing is so smart. Not only is like her color palette like perfect with like the blues and pinks, her tour outfits really like are a staple. Like the fact that you can have a Halloween costume and like you know who it is so awesome. Because that makes me think of like Ari from like 2016 and like her ponytail, or like Beyonce and all of her looks, or like Gaga like her different music video looks, like the meat dress, or even like oh my god the bubble dress. Does anybody remember that? So I think seeing where they take that next is going to be really important. And I think when it comes to Chapel, I really appreciate like her transparency, and like although that she is a pop star, like she's not afraid to like break down the barriers of like the certain things that like pop stars face. Like oh, like of course they're gonna get like photographed and like picked apart online, and a lot of times it's just like oh they're pop stars so they can deal with it. And I think it's really cool that she's been able to be like I'm still human, these things are affecting me, like you shouldn't be able to do that just because I have a certain level of fame. And I can't wait to see what she does with that with her artistry, because I think she's probably got one of the most anticipated like sophomore albums right now, and it's gonna be amazing to see where she goes from there. Um, in terms of other pop stars, I want to talk about Tate McRae. Tate McRae is not yet on the Sabrina level, but to me she is. I've been listening to Tate McRae since her very first EP. Um, I don't know, like she started off as like a Billie Eilish like dupe, like people would compare her to that, and like because of like her voice and stuff. And I really like how she's progressed and like been able to transform her image into something more like sultry and sexy, and like taking charge of her own image. I think it really started with Greedy. Like I remember when Greedy came out, like I still listen to that like all the time. And then she came out with X's, which is just like such a fun like track to listen to. Um, and honestly, her like music in the form of dance has been really inspiring to me, because in middle school and high school, I did like musical theater and show choir, and I went to like a very competitive school, and it was like so many people, and everybody had been like in lessons since they were like born, and I never had like the opportunity to do that. So this was like my opportunity to like do that, and then it kind of was a lot to deal with because of the competition. So eventually I quit, and then kind of like convinced myself that I wasn't creative, and then I like threw everything into being professional, and I started managing at age 20, and now it's been 2 years, and I was like taking a step back because I was like stopped working as much, and I was like, what do I like really want? And I like really want to just be happy. You know what I mean? So I started dancing again last semester. I joined a club on campus, and it's been so fun to like express myself. And I think that also comes back to like the whole pop culture entertainment standpoint, and like having a form of expression and just being able to escape healthily. Because I think that's really important right now, not only as a young adult, but also like as just a person in today's world. Um, so yeah, like Tay was really inspiring for me to do that. Like I learned the X's dance. I've learned like the It's Okay I'm Okay dance. I learned the two hands dance, and I'm really excited because I'm going to be teaching a dance class on Tuesday for OBO or OBO, the dance club. So I'm really excited to step out my comfort zone and like not only dance but like be able to like teach other people. Um, yeah, and it's not my choreography, it's Sean Bankhead. If you know who that is, he's an amazing choreographer. He's done like Britney, so obviously Tate has been kind of the Britney girl of today, and I love that she's been able to not just like copy that, but like make it her own. And I think with her most recent release, Sports Car, which is like getting a lot of traction online, she kind of stepped away from the dancing and she like gave a bunch of looks, but like it wasn't just like Britney look-alike. Like she looks like she's doing something different and like making it her own while still like paying homage and like taking inspiration from the artists before her. Which I think when it comes to Chapel is really cool too because like Chapel at first was like very much everybody was calling her like the new Gaga and like Gaga and Chapel are completely different artists. Like Gaga is like I don't even know how to explain it. Like I get the whole idea like they're doing like crazy avant-garde looks and like everything, but Chapel is definitely more of like a drag queen moment, and I really like how people can kind of like take inspiration from other artists but make it their own, and I think that's really like important in today's world, especially with like Sabrina. Like I at first was like, oh my god, especially when Nonsense and Feather came out and everything, I was like, she's very much giving Ari, like, this is Ari 2.0, like, where are we going? And then she just took off from the Short and Sweet era and, like, the Eras tour and, like, made it her own image. Like, when you see the heart, you think Sabrina. When you see, like, Baby Blue or Baby Pink, you're thinking, like, Sabrina. Like, the bangs, like the fact that Ari had a ponytail and then now Sabrina has the bangs, it's like so iconic. So yeah, I just think like artists like that have really given a voice to so many people to just have fun. Like, you know, a lot of the music isn't something like super serious or something like super deep. It's like literally just about having fun and like letting loose and escaping. Another mention I want to talk about. I want to talk about SZA. SZA is so awesome, and she's really like getting her flowers now. Like SZA's not young. Like she's in her 30s. She's honestly been doing this for a really long time. Like she's been in the industry, like networking and making connections for years. And I remember when Control came out, that was like her like biggest moment yet, and I wasn't like a super fan at that time. I was still pretty young. Like I was kind of a fan of her through my sister, and I really think that like catapulted her into what she was able to do with like SOS and then like the SOS Deluxe Lana, because now she's like kind of like a household name, and I really like. I think that's really telling because a lot of people think like pop stars or superstars in general like you have to be like a certain age and then like you grow out of it. And like SZA's been able to kind of break that mold, you know. Obviously, 30s is not old or anything, but like she is in her 30s and she's in her prime now, you know, where a lot of people are like, you have to be like in your 20s to do that. And you know, she's like doing the Super Bowl and she's going on tour with Kendrick. Like, these are all crazy things that she's getting to experience. And she's also in a movie with Keke Palmer. I need to go see that. If anyone's seen it, let me know if it's good. I bet it's good. Um, Issa Rae, I believe, was the director or the writer. Um, and yeah, Keke Palmer also recently talked about what it was like growing up as like a child star and like the whole Disney Nick space, and how she was never like in the same rooms as people like Miley Cyrus or Selena Gomez or Victoria Justice because you know she's black, and she really brought to light how that challenged her and how she was able to make a name for herself and kind of take that back and not let that affect her. Um, and I think even now, Kiki's probably in her prime. Like, she's doing so many different projects, you know. And I can't wait to see where she takes it as a comedian because she's genuinely so funny. Like like when she's on Hot Ones, she just did the Hot Ones with SZA and Issa Rae from their film, and like everything Kiki says is genuinely hilarious, and I'm kind of like, she's brilliant. She's literally brilliant. She's literally gorgeous, and I love her with my whole heart. Okay, so what do I want to talk about next? I want to talk about film. Film is something I've never been super invested in. Like I've always been like a moviegoer and everything, but I've always been more like into like pop music and music in general. But I think film kind of hit like a dud for a few years, and I really feel like the momentum is coming back. I think with you know great films like Glicked or Barbenheimer, like those were really big moments for film. Even if they were like some people were like saying that they were like popcorn movies. I don't like that term at all. Like, I think that every piece of art has its own story and its own place, and I think that also goes to tell like the story with Demi Moore and how Demi Moore has been in this industry for like over 30 years and literally never got recognized for the work that she was doing, and just now this past year got her first Golden Globe for Substance. I think that's so amazing, and the fact that she didn't let that stop her and like she kept going. You know, she didn't care about, you know, the awards and the glitz and the glamour. She just cared about the art that she was making and her passion for acting. And I like how that she's now getting her flowers. I think that's really cool. um but like I was saying, like film is really getting their moment back, I think, with other films that are really artistic. Like I just saw Nosferatu. Wasn't my favorite film, but literally every single shot was absolutely gorgeous. Like every shot, I was like dumbfounded. I was like, that is like a picture. Like that's like a literal painting. Um, and Lily Rose, like, she may be a nepo baby, but that girl can act. Like nobody understands. Like some nepo babies, yeah, like maybe not the best, but she's doing something with it, and like you can tell that she's so dedicated. Like if you look up like the Nosferatu like audition tapes, like she was giving it her all, and like just that, and I think that that was really really awesome to see. Or even like I know not everybody loves Hailey Bieber, but I do. I think she eats because she's just going for it. Like Rhode is such a good brand for her. Like every product launch is perfect in like the next step. Like she knows the next step. Like she's thinking so far in ahead. Um, and I think she's just brilliant. I saw this thing where it was like this person was like on TikTok going through like the sales of like Black Friday and stuff and like the holidays, and like the first year, like I believe it was like 3 million in sales, and they weren't even pushing like sales for their products. It was just like new product launches, and then this year they made like 20 million in sales just from releasing a new product and not even having anything on sale. And I think that's insane and brilliant because now she's coming out with like a lip liner, and that's so on brand. Like everybody knows her for like the lip liner and the blush and everything. And I love how like in the marketing campaign for the new lip liner, she brought in Tate because Tate is so like prevalent in that world, and I think it's been really cool to see just like the collaboration of women and like other artists, and like queer artists as well. I think it's been really interesting to see. Yeah, like just people like not taking shit from other people and like just living their life and like going for it. And I think that's really really important. Oh my god, I almost forgot about another artist. I don't care. If nobody is an Addison Rae fan, I am an Addison Rae fan. She eats down. She has a vision for what she wants to create, and I think that's so cool to see. Like I remember she had her like first single, which was kind of like "Girl, What Are You Doing," and then I remember like being on YouTube, and then she had like this lost album that leaked, and I like listened to some of the tracks, and I was like, wait, this is giving Britney, this is giving like pop, and like I fell in love then. And then she released like an EP with some of those tracks, and one of them is a Lady Gaga discard from like the early 2000s, and I think that's awesome because although I don't know if Addison and Gaga know each other, there's got to be like some comparison because Addison and Charlie are like friends, like industry friends. They've released music together, and I think that's been so awesome to see like Charlie kind of take an artist under her wing and like help her grow her brand. But I know that Charlie and Gaga know each other because they did the 911 remix on Chromatica remix album, and so I feel like she did some like inner workings to get that track for Addison. Um, so I would love to see all three of them do something that would be really cool, especially because I know Addison is working on her album. I was reading like a Rolling Stones article last week, and it was just so clear that she has a certain image that she wants to curate, and I think she's going there. Like Diet Pepsi was such a moment, and then Honestly, Aquamarine is my favorite. Aquamarine is so good. If you haven't heard it, you need to listen. She may not have like the best voice in the world, but that's what's so beautiful about like pop is like you don't need to have Ariana vocals. Like you can still be a great artist around like your image and like the ideas that you're creating. And then another little crazy thing, one last little crazy thing is Bruno Mars is kind of eating it up these days. Like his Rose feature, and then his Gaga feature, and now his Sexy Red feature. Like he knows what he's doing. Like he's giving the girls an even bigger platform and bringing them together. Like the That Juicy and Wet video, where like Rose, Gaga, Sexy, and Bruno were all there. It's just like a moment, and like I feel like I'm feeling like feelings from like the early 2000s and like the late 2010s. Like I'm feeling that moment again because I feel like we were at such a dry for a while, and I feel really good about it. But I kind of need to wrap this up. So yeah, I just blabbed about a bunch of things that I love, pop music wise, to test the waters. So let's yeah. Rosemary will be back next week. We love Rosemary. Um, yeah. Shout out to the team inside Isaac, Seb, Stacy, Sarah. They eat. Yeah. Have a good day. And don't be afraid to eat.